Hello everyone, very good afternoon. I am Murugan, Solution Architect from KGSL India. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to today's webinar, Achieve Continuous Quality through UiPath Test Suite. KGISL is very proud to present this webinar in association with UiPath. Before getting into this webinar, I would like to go over few items so you know how to participate in this webinar, who we are, and what is the need of continuous quality. So participants can submit your text questions using Teams chat channel. We'll collect these questions and answer them at the end of this presentation. So KGISL is a leading IT services, consulting and business solution organization that has been partnering with some of the largest organizations in their transformation journeys for over 25 years. We offer software services in the areas of robotic process automation, machine learning, artificial intelligence, business intelligence, quality engineering, analytics, application development, and professional consulting services. We have offices in India, US, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, and Thailand. UiPath Gartner names KJSL among the top hyperautomation service provider globally. We are certified UiPath Service Network partner now. UiPath recognized KGSL as their global diamond partner and India's national partner of the year 2020. So what is the need of continuous quality today? Today, companies develop a competitive advantage through software in order to outperform their competitors. So rapid delivery of differential software has become a business imperative for every company. In response to the increased demand in the market, we are seeking new ways to accelerate release cycles by adapting best practices like DevOps. So while accelerating the release cycles, it should not break any existing features and cause software failures. In earlier days, we used to plan for yearly release, quarterly release, monthly releases. But nowadays, if we see our app store, we used to get the upgrades and releases every 2 weeks, every week, and sometimes as frequent as possible. However, if you actually see the upgrades and releases, most of the time the purpose of the release talks about bug fixes and performance improvements. So we need to achieve the optimal balance of quality and speed. Continuous quality will help us to bridge this gap. So I'd like to welcome and introduce our today's presenters. Mr. Thomas, RPA Pre-Sales Manager from UiPath, will discuss how UiPath Test Suite will help us to achieve continuous quality and simplify DevOps. Mr. Senthil Kumar Mani, Automation Architect from KGSL, will cover web and mobile automation success stories later in this session. And myself, so I would like to brief the importance of continuous quality and how it helps to accelerate releases and improve speed to market in the upcoming slides. So continuous quality is a central part of DevOps that lies between continuous development and continuous deployment. So it's a software engineering practice in which the isolated changes are analyzed immediately and the feedbacks are shared with the respective stakeholders so they can take the informed decisions as quick as possible. The goal of continuous quality is continuous feedback and rapid feedback. So by doing early testing, build verification, continuous assessment, and continuous measurement will help us to achieve this continuous quality. Okay. So companies can employ a number of strategies to achieve continuous quality, right? So I would like to discuss two important strategies which will help us to simplify the continuous quality. So automation first is one of the effective strategy to perform early testing and build verification. So one of the main objective of testing in DevOps is providing and getting early feedbacks from testing team and development team. For this reason, we must begin testing very early in the cycle. Also, DevOps encourages frequent builds in order to deliver working software as soon as possible. So there is a higher possibility of codes breaking existing features and cause software failures. For this reason, it is not practical to have testers do this verification manually and ensure end-to-end test coverage. For example, ensuring the end-to-end test coverage manually for every technical upgrade, for every bug fix, and in multiple environments, databases, OS, browsers, it is very repetitive and time consuming activity. So we need to bring automation first strategy into our organization to meet the DevOps demand for early testing and build verification. So continuous quality relies on continuous testing to perform continuous assessment and continuous measurement. So having a tool for test automation will allow us to create test automations, but when it comes to executing a build driven or a scheduled manner, then it will not be the right solution. So we need to involve a comprehensive set of tools to execute in a build driven or a scheduled manner. So continuous testing is the process of testing early, testing often, and testing quicker. So our automation solution should be resilient enough to accommodate the continuous development, capable to perform continuous testing, and simplify the DevOps methodology. Shift left automation and continuous automation engineering approaches will help us to achieve this quality culture, continuous quality. So according to Gartner, continuous quality requires the cultural change in our organization. So if you would like to bring any cultural change into our organization, it is always better to start from top and make our leaders to believe it first. So we can look for full stack developers, full stack testers, or SDATs to bring automation first strategy into our organization. But we have few challenges here, like availability of highly skilled resources in the market. Resource cost will be high if we look for high skilled resources, lower productivity, and it will also create people dependency. So other side, we can also look for a tool which demands less technical expertise, provides higher productivity, and also it will reduces people dependency. UiPath will help us to convince our leaders and bring these cultural changes into our organization. So by using UiPath Test Suite, manual testers and business users can easily adapt shift left automation and continuous automation practices similar to robotic process automation. So this UiPath Test Suite will provide the end-to-end automation solutions for our organization. So be it testing software applications or testing existing RPA workflows, the enterprise-wide automation solution allow your organization to manage the complex environments very easily. Okay, so this UiPath Test Suite combines the world's leading RPA technology with best of breed testing capabilities to accelerate continuous quality through its features and components. So automate your requirement faster by using UiPath Studio Pro. Proactively manage the quality by using UiPath Test Manager, and continuously test using UiPath Orchestrator. So with this, I will hand over to Thomas. He will give more insight on UiPath Test Suite and its features. What to you, Thomas?
Thank you very much, Murugan. Hopefully you can hear me well. And let me very quickly share my screen. And I prepared a rather short presentation for you today. Hopefully you can see my deck right now. And let me kick it on. So you said something very important, Murugan. You said something about testing frequently, testing everything, and testing diligently. And this is a really good recipe if you want to achieve continuous quality. But when it comes to UiPath Test Suite, even though we completely agree with you, we try to understand a little bit more about how our customers use automation to, first of all, automate their business processes, but at the same time, how do they use automation to improve their delivery quality? So first of all, one of the questions we asked ourselves, why customers who use our RPA, or why customers who have many business applications in their ecosystem, why at some point of time they slow down and they stop scaling up, they stop growing? It is mainly because only around 15% companies, or less than 15% companies, according to Deloitte Intelligent Automation Survey, are able to achieve it and able to pass what we call the turning point that occurs after a honeymoon. If you take a look at my chart, you will notice that when companies start small, they have very few business applications, they have few automations if they use UiPath Robotic Process Automation suite. And with these few applications, with these few automations, they can achieve incredible savings immediately. And their appetite grows. So they think that, oh, we'll automate more, we'll have more business applications involved in our automation flows. And this means we will have more and more savings. And this is true. At the very beginning, the ratio between a scale of automation and number of savings or amount of savings is very, very profitable or beneficial. But at some point of time, these organizations reach a turning point that makes things a bit more difficult. Because every new application, every new automation added to their business, actually, instead of improving savings, instead of adding some new benefits, starts to drag them down. So this means that at some point of time, our customers get to the stage where maintaining a big slew of applications, maintaining a number of robots, maintaining a lot of business processes becomes simply very expensive. And the cost of this maintenance simply drags all the automation benefits down. So why do automated business processes stop working? First of all, when robots stop working, robots that automate your business processes, it disrupts the business. Of course, broken application, broken robots lead to unplanned maintenance. And all of this effort to restore robots or to bring back your application, business application to operational use, it all drives the ROI down. So this is the end of what we call automation honeymoon, and we need to find a way. We need to help our customers to find a way how to keep scaling, keep getting more benefits as long as they keep automating. So this is an example. Imagine this is your organization. You have a number of business processes involved. You have a number of applications that you use in order to complete those business processes. If you're using UiPath Robotic Process Automation, you have a number of robots that automate these processes for you. And of course, all of this runs on an environment that involves network servers and all your infra. If we look a little bit deeper, one of the challenges that you will probably see at some point of time are application issues. Application that reached production stopped working due to technical issues, due to customizations that weren't successfully and completely tested, or to business changes that weren't accommodated properly. We will occasionally, for those customers who use UiPath robots to automate business processes, see automation issues. Automation stop working or robots stop working because, for example, new application is different, or, for example, new application crashed unexpectedly when a robot tried to execute a specific behavior. So automation issues will happen on a daily basis too, if we don't test properly. Sometimes our application can be in perfect shape. Our robot will be happy and ready to go, but environment issues such as Windows upgrades, such as network upgrade, will make it impossible to complete a business process. And if you look at the changes these issues can originate from, you'll realize that certain changes on the application side are quite frequent. Changes on the business process side can be also quite frequent. Changes on the an ecosystem side or environment side maybe are less frequent, but at the same time, all these changes require you to test. If you won't test frequently, if you won't test diligently, you will face all these issues that I just described. And what's going to happen? Who will pay the price if your application issues occur? You've just published a new version of a business app to production, and suddenly it's down. Business is not able to run. What if a robot that you had in place to automate a certain business process is suddenly unoperational? Well, business is not happening. Business is affected. What if Windows update happened and suddenly people can't switch on their computers or can't work with a set of desktop applications? Again, business is not happening. So you see, all these challenges, daily challenges, in the end, they affect everyone, but business pays the highest price. So that's why robots that are part of UiPath Test Suite and robots that are part of UiPath Enterprise Automation Suite, they deliver upon concept of fully automated enterprise. With UiPath Test Suite, you can test your robots and test any application your robots and your business processes rely on. This way you can build faster. This way you can easily test continuously, and this way you can prevent all these disruptions that affect your business. So when we implement UiPath Enterprise Automation Suite together with UiPath Test Suite, we'll be able to build more resilient automation faster. We'll be able to automate testing of applications, automate testing of automations, and simply deliver testing results faster and release faster. With robots doing majority of the work on the testing side, we'll be able to have these robots test continuously. Remember, robots don't get tired. Robots are faster than us. Robots can emulate humans, say, in a very in a lot of different aspects of our life. That's why these robots are perfect testers. They always follow instructions and they do it really, really fast with never any complaint about being bored or burning out. And of course, if we're testing proactively, if we're testing frequently, we can very quickly identify issues. We can triage them and troubleshoot them and fix them before we reach production. So UiPath Test Suite combined with UiPath RPA Automation Suite is a perfect solution for a fully automated enterprise that wants to achieve continuous quality. Let's take a quick look at what we're capable of with UiPath Robots and UiPath Test Suite. First of all, major components of our test suite is Test Manager. Test Manager is a web app that is meant for test managers who will plan testing scope, monitor testing, execute testing, and decide whether application is ready to be released to production. UiPath Studio Pro is for developers who will build automated test cases. These test cases will replicate regular human tester activity, and eventually, when ready, will be released to UiPath Orchestrator, which will allocate a dedicated testing robot. An orchestrator will have all these test cases executed upon request, executed on schedule, executed whenever it's necessary, as frequently as you wish. So Test Manager, UiPath Studio Pro, and UiPath Orchestrator, together with testing robots, can offer pretty broad spectrum of features that you will get out of the box. What can we do? We can test web application. We can test desktop applications. We can test SAP and mainframes. We can perform testing on mobile applications for iOS and Android. We can test APIs. We can achieve continuous integration through a variety of pipelines that we support. We can have a distributed execution of our tests because we can have dozens or even hundreds of testing robots running at the same time. We can manage test data. We can virtualize services that we use for testing. And again, having hundreds of robots testing the same application at the same time, we can perform load testing and performance testing. With integration to a lot of ALM solutions, such as Jira, SAP Solution Manager, ServiceNow, we can very efficiently manage requirements and provide a set of analysis and reports telling you how well your quality is maintained and how accurate you are at testing. Of course, test case management and exploratory testing is possible with UiPath Test Suite. And finally, we always know that even though we can try really, really hard, at some point of time, we will need people, our testers, to do some manual testing. That's why we will definitely facilitate this way of testing too. Test case design and finally, risk-based testing is also part of UiPath Test Suite out of the box. So who is enterprise testing for? Who is UiPath Test Suite meant for? Think about it. So it's first of all, it's for testers. Testers who do their tedious manual labors activities on daily basis. Now they can hand over all these repetitive testing activities to testing robots. And now these testers can focus on something that's more important. Strategizing how to make these applications better, trying to identify test cases that will help us test application better. So UiPath Test Suite is definitely for testers because it changes the way how they work from very manual testing to better use of their brains to testing procedure. UiPath Test Suite is also for IT professionals. Imagine all these people sitting in IT departments being responsible for network, being responsible for Windows updates, being responsible for upkeep of certain applications. Every time they upgrade to Windows on your desktop, they sort of assume responsibility that your computer will work after this upgrade is successful. So these people live in stress every time the network router is changed or server is upgraded, right? So it is definitely for them because now they can run a test robot which will perform a set of test cases, complete the test of set cases, test cases, and will come back and tell them, hey, you know, after Windows upgrade, everything is still working fine. You can go home and sleep well. And finally, UiPath Test Suite is for RPA developers. Those developers who build automations of business processes using UiPath RPA platform. These developers now can test their work faster. They can deploy faster and make sure that when they release an automation to production, it will be robust and resilient. So there are a lot of people in the organization that benefit from continuous testing and achieving continuous quality. UiPath Test Suite is fully integrated into UiPath platform, so there is a seamless integration with all the components. And for all these customers who are already using RPA, UiPath RPA platform, they can simply activate Test Suite and start testing straight away. For new customers, adopting Test Suite and setting up a proper testing environment, automatic testing environment, is very quick. We provide a lot of training. We provide a lot of ways to make sure this is very seamless and smooth. And finally, Test Suite is not really a new product. This is something that we've been developing for a few years now, and we have around 800 customers around the world using UiPath Test Suite on a bigger and smaller scale. Some of our partners like KGSL, like Deloitte, PwC, are proactively using UiPath Test Suite or planning to use UiPath Test Suite to address their customer needs, to deliver better quality testing. We also have a number of huge customers who have really committed to achieving continuous quality, and that's why they leverage UiPath Enterprise Automation Suite two ways. One, by automating their business processes with robots, and two, by achieving continuous quality by testing their automations and applications with Test Suite. And finally, I have a few words from our customers that I would like to share with you. You see, some of our customers came back and simply said, hey, we managed to reduce the cost of application and automation maintenance by 50% using your test suite. Some customers said that because robot took over majority of testing responsibilities, they were able to deploy 10 times faster. They were able to deploy or release more frequently. They were able to focus on adding new features instead of dealing with downtimes. Some customers said that by simply using the automation components that they had in place, something that they built for their business process automation and reusing it for testing purposes, they were able to save up themselves around 66% of work simply by reusing certain things. And some customers, like they had incredible results even after 1 month. You know, after 1 month of using UiPath Test Suite, they came back and say, hey, you know, we were able to improve our release velocity incredibly, and now tasks that previously required 3 testers doing manual work now can be handled by 1 tester who is only facilitating the testing process and supervising it on a higher level. And of course, Autodesk, which is also our big customer, said that the capabilities, they added Test Suite on top of RPA Suite from UiPath, and they managed to achieve regression testing with efficiency through storing and tracking the test data. So even such a simple things like efficient reuse and use of test data in automated manner can significantly reduce the effort of your regression testing. So that's everything I have for you today, and I will be happy to answer some of your questions a little bit later. But now I would like to return the microphone back to KGSL team, and mic is yours.
Thank you, Thomas. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me share my screen. Hope everyone can see my screen, right? So in today's webinar, I'm going to explain about end-to-end test activities using UiPath Test Suite components, and will demonstrate 2 use cases. One is Ensure Express. It's a mobile application used to inquire the policy detail of motor insurance. And another one is the UI Bank. It's a web application that allows customers to apply loans. And later we'll show how we can achieve continuous testing using UiPath Test Suite. Test Suite has 4 components. Let me show you a demo video. First one is Test Manager. This Test Manager screens platform help us to integrate into various ALM tools such as Jira, Azure DevOps, X-Ray, and all. It will also help us to integrate manual as well as automated test case and their execution results to our requirements. Here you can able to see the test cases mapped with the requirement and test results mapped with the requirement. Next is Studio Pro, which is an advanced IDE used to develop automation scripts. Here I'm just opening the existing project. All the project dependencies are loading in project tab. Project is loading still. In project tab, we can able to see the project dependencies and all the test cases related to that particular project. In activity tab, we can able to see all the predefined activities like open browser, click, type into, select activity. These are used for our automation scripting. The next is orchestrator. It not only helps us to schedule, monitor, and distribute the test execution, but also help us to analyze the detailed test execution results. Here you can see the screenshot as well as the failed reason. The last one is the robot. This is the robot screen, which helps us to execute the automation test case on multiple machines in parallel. These are the 4 components used for various type of testing like web automation, desktop automation, SAP, API, and mobile automation. It also provides CI/CD integration as well as the version control capabilities. Now I will show the use cases. Let me show the flow first. Here we'll launch the URL and click apply for the loan button, and then enter the required details like email, loan amount, loan term, income, and age. After entering these details, we'll submit the form and then we'll verify the interest rate. Here it's going to click the submit button. We'll verify this interest rate. For this activity, I have used a predefined activity like open browser, click, type into, select, and verify control activity. We'll see the execution now. Application is launching. URL is open and entering the required details. It's going to submit the form. Then it's verifying the result. Here you can able to see the results in console log. It took 7 seconds for the execution. Next, I will show how we can use a data-driven test case in UiPath. Here I have placed all the test data like email, loan amount, loan term, income, age, and expected percentage in the Excel. Then I have added this test data Excel file with the test case by right-clicking the test case and choosing the add test data option. Also, we can now able to remove the test data by remove the test data option. In run option, we can able to see two options like run with data variation, debug file with data variation. Here I'm going to use run file. Here you can able to see both the values of the Excel. One is valid scenario, another one is invalid scenario. I'm going to execute both the scenario. First, valid scenario will be executed. Application is launching and entering the required details. Next, invalid scenario is going to execute. Now, application is launching. It's going to enter the values. Now, execution is completed. You can able to see both the results. One case got passed. Invalid case got failed. Both took 7 seconds to complete the execution. Now I'm going to show how I have created the automation test script for Ensure mobile application. Here I have used APM server and Android Studio for creating simulator. Since I'm using Android for this, so I have used Android Studio. Here I have used predefined activities like select connection detail, swipe, tap, set text, and control attribute activities in the test case. Before showing the execution, let me show the sample execution results first. This is a result folder. For every execution, there will be a video recording as well as the HTML report. In HTML report, we can able to see the stepwise report with screenshot and time duration. Here you can able to see all the steps of that scenario with the screenshots. Also, you can able to see the start and end time of the scenario and the total time taken for the particular scenario. Next, I'm going to show the execution. Here, application is launching in the simulator. It's going to click the Let's Get Started button. It's going to select the option as staff. It's going to enter the username. After entering the username, it's going to click that proceed button. Next, it's going to enter the password. Once password is entered, it will click the login button. Then it will check for the home screen for that particular application. And it's going to check the inquiry section and click the inquiry section. And here it will check for the vehicle number field and enter the value of the vehicle number in the vehicle number field. After entering the value, it's going to click the search button. We'll get the policy detail summary here. Once you click this policy summary, you can able to see the policy detail. Here I will check the expected results with this actual results. Next, I will show the sample DevOps workflow. This is the sample DevOps workflow. Whenever change has been introduced into the application or a commit in the source control, CI tool will trigger the test execution like unit testing, regression testing, and integration testing automatically. And on the success build, package will deploy into the orchestrator automatically. Now I'm going to show how we can achieve continuous testing using UiPath test suite. We track our user stories in Jira. Here I have add one functionality, add functionality using UiPath recommend in the Jira. It's automatically synced with the test manager. Here I am just creating and assigning the test case with the recommend. Already I have assigned, so if you click that assign to recommend, you can able to see that tick was already ticked. Before doing the commit in the Git, let me show the existing version of the package here. The package is 1.0.22. So in Studio Pro, I'm going to do some changes in the scripts. I'm just changing the values in the right line. Now I'm going to commit this source by clicking commit button and give commit message in the respective field. After committing, if you open the Jenkins, we can able to see the status of the different stages like let me open the here you can able to see the different stages like build, test, deploy to UAT. Also, if you click that particular build, you can able to see the detailed log in console output. If you scroll down, you can able to see all the detailed log, and finally you will get the success notification in end of the build. So I'm going to open orchestrator now and check whether new version is updated or not. Here new version 23 is updated. And post execution, we can see the test execution result directly on those requirement or in the test result section in test manager. When we identify failure or a defect in the test result, then we can automatically file an incident in Jira, including all the relevant information from test manager itself. Here, I'm just opening the fail case. I'm going to create defect for this fail case. I'm going to click the task option and click create defect. Now defect will be created automatically in Jira from test manager. Now I'm going to open the Jira and refresh the screen. Now you can able to see the defect. It's automatically pushed from test manager. Here it will show all the details of that particular defect. Also, what are the cases blocked due to this defect will be displayed in Jira. This is the sample workflow I have created for this webinar. That's it from my side. Over to you, Murugan.
Yeah, thank you, Senthil. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, Thomas, as well. So we have received few questions from our participants. So now we'll spend another 15 minutes time on Q&A, and we'll try to answer all your questions. And if you miss to answer any of your questions, we'll try to reach you individually and send our clarification to your individual mail IDs. So Thomas, Senthil, you can add your points so that our participants can get as much as information as possible from these questions. So one of the question, apart from the fact Selenium is open source and the UiPath is licensed, could you highlight what advantage UiPath brings in?
If you don't mind, I'll take this question. And so first of all, when it comes to UiPath solution, it is a truly enterprise solution. Yes, we understand there are lots of open source solution out there, but when it comes to completeness of the solution and, for example, simple ability to interact with practically any piece of the software that exists on this planet. And I'm talking about UiPath robots being able to interact with web applications, UiPath robots being able to work with desktop applications, applications that are exposed through Citrix, applications that are exposed through remote desktop, applications that run on iOS, and applications that run on Android phones. This simple single vendor solution capable of working with any piece of software in your organization, managing all the test cases and everything in one place, and on top of it, letting you reuse this functionality not only to test, but also to automate your business processes, is something completely different to what open source software offers you at the same time. Remember, you are saving money at testing, and at the same time, the artifacts you build for testing an application ABC, now you can take the same automation flow that you used for testing, hand it over to business people or business users in production, and start saving your time again by making these people's work a little bit more automated. So enterprise approach with practically unlimited applicability in terms of software you can test with, and the reusability for production business processes doubles and triples up the savings and the benefits that you get from UiPath Enterprise Automation Suite and Test Suite.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. So in addition to Thomas' points, there are a few things I would like to add. So as Senthil mentioned, this UiPath Test Suite will bring the end-to-end testing activities. We are not going to use only for automation of testing activities, like getting the requirement from our project management tools, and process and adding the test cases and tag it against requirement. We can use it as a RTM as well. And then for each test cases we created, we can automate using Studio Pro. And the Studio Pro will help us to automate as fast as possible because it has hundreds of pre-built activities. So we don't need to create in Selenium or any open source tool. We need to create the actual script, test scripts manually, which takes longer time. The product will be very lesser. So here we have hundreds of pre-built activities for across application landscape, as Thomas mentioned, right? Web application, mobile application, or be it SAP application, or be it a API, RPA, mobile application. This UiPath Test Suite will help us to accelerate as quick as possible. So there is one more question from the participant. Just like the Studio for RPA developers and Studio X for citizen developers, does the automation test suite consist of, just a second, 2 different modules? Thomas?
So, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, Thomas, for you, this question.
Okay, sure. So yes, the short answer is our studio has 3 different flavors. Rightly pointed out by one of our attendees, we have Studio X, which is meant for process automation by business users. We have our studio, which is meant for RPA developers who automate business processes in a bit more, I would say, company business critical manner. And also we have UiPath Studio Pro, which is generally a UiPath Studio that comes with additional features related to testing capabilities. So UiPath Studio Pro is actually UiPath Studio plus application testing features and plus automation testing features.
Thanks, Thomas. There is one more question about upskilling the existing RPA developers. Like, can a UiPath RPA developer be able to handle the test automation easily, or does he need to upskill to handle the test suite?
That's literally the easiest thing I can imagine. If you already know how to build an automation as an RPA developer, building a test case will come almost naturally for you.
Yeah, that's great. So we just need to understand the existing pre-built activities which we mentioned earlier, right? There are hundreds of pre-built activities available. We just need to have that hands-on. What control I need to use for what functionality. If that hands-on comes in a week time or 2 weeks time, yeah, RPA developers, they also can do test automation very easily. So there is one more question on DevOps. Can we able to implement DevOps for both RPA and application testing?
Oh, yes, definitely. So you see, application testing and automation testing and RPA automation itself, they follow a very similar concept. Think about it this way. Most of our customers starts by adopting robots to do what humans do, what business users do, right? So we put the robot in place to help business users, and this robot is expected to simulate a business user. Now, tester is actually expected to simulate business user as well, right? Because he's supposed to go through similar scenarios that business users do in order to make sure they work, let's say as a part of regression testing. So now we have robot emulating humans, emulating business user, and robot emulating tester. So this means it's practically the same flow, and that's why DevOps can be applied for both of I would say both of the sides of the mirror here. Of course, DevOps goes a little further in terms of automation, because automation will eventually push those automated flows to production while testing happens in non-production system. But yes, we can very nicely reconcile both of these functionalities.
Okay. So there is one question on the integration part. So I think Senthil told this test manager can interface with Jira, DevOps, and SAP solution managers. So there is one question: is there any integration with test trial, or is there any workaround for that?
So at this moment, we have dedicated connectors, like you said, for Jira, ServiceNow, and Solman, and we have what's called generic connector, which uses simply a set of APIs that you can quickly create a connector yourself, even for any kind of application you can think of. So in short, it's not completely out of the box, but building a connector for test trial, for example, will definitely be very simple if we use our generic connector.